Oh, good morning, everyone. Um, my name is Scott Rezendes, and I am a adjunct professor at the George Washington University in Washington, D.C., uh, focusing on global soccer. That is the course that I teach. And today, I am thankful to be here with the American Center in Moscow to present on technology advancements at the World Cup this summer. So there has been extensive growth in the game, and a lot of technology advancements that have happened in a very short span of time. I would like to begin by speaking a little bit about the recent history of technology advancements in the game. FIFA has generally been a little slow in advancing basic technology extensions across their brand. Having been very, very late to the game in most social media platforms and other basic tenets of a business expansion and extension into connecting with fans and whatnot. The global pandemic in 2020 was a massive accelerator for them in an effort to expand their brand as they desperately tried to stay connected to their fan base. They launched their first YouTube channel, really their first online platform to extend all of the content that they had collected over the years to roll that out to their fan base in lieu of actual live games. And that was really the touch point for FIFA to really accelerate their efforts in technology, specifically YouTube pages, Facebook, TikTok, things of that nature. World Cup 2022 in Qatar really brought the introduction of FIFA's efforts in technology over those first few years into the broader space and into the landscape of live tournament footprints. They launched their first app FIFA Plus, as well as their initial efforts at a ticketing platform online to make efforts to grow in the technology space and tie that into their major tournaments. Qatar was in a really excellent space for this in that they had built 11 new stadiums for the tournament, meaning that FIFA was able to go in and integrate their technology needs and efforts into each stadium specifically from the ground up as those stadiums were being built. So it was a really excellent jumping off point for FIFA to trial and error a lot of different extensions of their brand and how they wanted to integrate technology into live match days along World Cup. So that really sets the stage for our conversation today about where technology is headed now, 4 years later, for the World Cup planned here in the United States, Mexico, and Canada for this summer. So a little bit of an overview about the World Cup for this summer. 2026 will see some of the biggest technology advancements in the history of the tournament. Again, we're starting from a very low bar in terms of what has happened in the past. But really, all of the efforts I see are largely designed to capture fan interest and increase engagement from fans across the world. These technology enhancements are going to really maximize exposure for both serious and casual fans as they try to capture as many of both as possible, and allow fans to engage the tournament however they see fit, whether that be through statistical analysis, through more engaging experiences like AR and VR, which we'll talk about in a little bit, or again, just more casual enhancements through game experience and different camera angles and other access points that broadcast will bring. World Cup 2026 currently is getting a label of being a tournament for the wealthy, pricing out fans across the world. And I think that is really well connected to this technology talk today. You're seeing price points for tickets at a tournament here in the United States going 6 to 8x more expensive than they have been in the past, really pricing out your typical fan from attending. making it really difficult for fans from abroad to really consider coming to the United States and spending what it's going to cost not only to travel, but then to purchase match tickets. So access through technology is really going to help justify those enormous increases, because it's going to allow fans that don't have the ability to travel and ability to attend due to cost engage in the tournament in ways they've never been able to before. To again provide an experience that is really exceptional and really elevated from what's been available in the past. So with technology enhancements, you need a technology partner, and I thought it was important to mention that Lenovo is FIFA's new World Cup partner in terms of for both the men and women's tournaments in all aspects of technology efforts. So I was actually a contractor for last summer's Club World Cup, and all of the technology that we used was Lenovo from a computer standpoint. So when you become a technology partner of FIFA and for massive events, not only are we talking some of the more fancy things that we will talk, integration of fancy components that we will talk about in just a short order, but you're also talking about things as simply as all of the computers, all of the hardware that each individual staff member is using. It all comes from that same partner, so that there is easy connectivity across all aspects of the tournament, so that one FIFA tournament manager in California can connect easily with a tournament manager here on the East Coast in Philadelphia or New York City. So I thought it was important to at least mention who our the technical partner is for the tournament this year. Moving forward, I've broken out my technology conversation today into 3 specific categories. So stadium technology advancements would be first, primarily security and ticketing platforms and things of those nature. Second would be broadcast, how technology is really advancing the broadcast options for fans to experience the game this year. And then lastly, the on-field aspects, which I'm sure most are interested in hearing more about, advancements in VAR technology, as well as the smart ball, and how sensors inside the ball are going to really impact a variety of different ability to measure in-game statistics and things of that nature. So with that, we'll start with World Cup stadium discussion. And so I think in order to really have a full understanding of where technology is headed inside stadiums, I think first you have to understand where FIFA has been with regards to the growth of the game and some of the different feedback they've received in the past. Over the last 4 or 5 World Cups that have broached into areas of the world in which we've not had massive stadium infrastructure, FIFA has built significant footprints in those countries, whether it be South Africa, Brazil, Russia, Qatar. All of these countries have needed massive infrastructure expansion from a stadium perspective. And as a result, they've left a pretty significant footprint, a carbon footprint behind, in which stadiums are being underutilized after the games have left. And so moving forward into the 2026 tournament, minimizing that carbon footprint was critically important. And as a result, competing in North America was a perfect partner for that effort, because FIFA has access to some of the most technology advanced facilities in the world here in our country, as well as in Mexico and Canada. And in doing so, they've really piggybacked off of that existing stadium infrastructure in many cases. Integrating the stadium technology that already exists into FIFA's operational plan is really what you're seeing through most of the tournament. Many of the stadiums that they've selected for competition are relatively new. SoFi Stadium, AT&T Stadium, the 2 examples that I've presented here on the bottom are 10 years or younger in terms of their life cycle. So they have really most of the elite qualities that you would expect in a stadium. There really weren't a lot of infrastructure needs at those facilities that FIFA had to utilize. I would say one example is that FIFA uses its own encrypted communications network that they overlay over the existing infrastructure inside the stadiums already. So these stadiums have pretty intricate communication setups already in terms of hardware and running lines and their own dedicated Wi-Fi connection points. But FIFA comes in and has their own technology that they overlay on top of it that works pretty seamlessly once it's integrated. So the ability to take over a stadium and integrate those systems happens quite quickly, but it's a minimal overlay and in terms of time to get that ready for the tournament to start. But by and large, they're utilizing much of the same infrastructure that exists, whether that be security measures at the front door, systems that for safety and protection, things of that nature. So moving forward, some of the areas that they have enhanced from a stadium perspective that I think are critical to talk about. Number one is the FIFA ticketing platform. So this was created and controlled by FIFA, as I mentioned earlier. It was initially introduced for Qatar 4 years ago in 2022, but the enhancements and the efforts made in the ticketing platform, FIFA.com/tickets, has been significant. They have more or less strangled full control of tickets under their platform now, where in the past it was kind of a hybrid system in which FIFA had control of tickets, but the secondary markets allowed tickets to be transferred outside of their system. Now you'll see very, very little of that, if any. FIFA has really tried to choke out partners in that process to control all revenue streams related to ticketing. So first and foremost, I think for some of the old souls in the group, this will be the first tournament with no paper tickets. All tickets will be digital. So saving your tickets from the World Cup as a souvenir, as something you could hang on your wall or put in a scrapbook, is no more. All tickets sold through the website have gone through an intricate ticket application process, one that has existed for many years, but now has seen over 5 million applications for tickets this year, which is a significant challenge for the ticketing folks to wade through and decide who wins each lottery and who has access to those tickets. It's a pretty extensive background, things that we're not seeing that FIFA is operating in terms of wading through all the people who want tickets versus who will actually get them, and made even more challenging by the fact that this is a three-country tournament process. So Canada is controlling some of the tickets. The United States is controlling the majority of the tickets. Mexico is also controlling a portion of the tickets. So there are a lot of different voices and a lot of different things happening at the moment. And so stadium technology and the technologies surrounding this platform is critical to manage all of those intricacies of this process. I mentioned earlier that FIFA now has control of the secondary market, having pushed out the middlemen such as StubHub, SeatGeek, and other secondary processes. In doing all of the secondary ticket resales through their platform, they have actually moved to take 15% of each sale from both the reseller as well as the buyer, allowing now having 30% of every resold ticket funneling back into FIFA. So they've really eliminated a lot of costly ticketing fees through these shared partners and gained significant revenue from this effort of their ticketing platform. And so I think this is really a critical expansion of their previous efforts on the technology side to grow revenue, to allow them to operate at a much higher level and have and not have ticket counterfeiting being as much of a problem as it has been in previous tournaments. Next, in-stadium fan engagement platforms. This is another significant area of expansion for FIFA. If you've ever been involved in a loyalty program with a company, so great examples are miles programs through airlines, reward programs from credit cards and things of that nature. So many professional sports teams, largely through the United States, but also in the highest levels of international soccer, have started to integrate software in which they're doing loyalty programs for their fan bases as well. And FIFA has entered this market now for the 2026 tournament through a British company called Fortress that also has a significant footprint here in the United States. And so what it is a loyalty program through your phone, through the FIFA app, in which when you're at a point of sale, touch point at the stadium, so whether you're purchasing food inside the stadium or merchandise or other things that they're selling inside the stadium, that you have the ability to gain points for those purchases for rewards to get, whether that be free merchandise, additional food options, money to spend in addition to the money you've already spent as rewards for your engagement inside FIFA's stadiums. And so this is a significant platform, again, being utilized by most professional sports teams in our country, that allow you to gain significant data and access to your fan base to be able to engage with them better, to understand what they're enjoying inside the stadium, what they're selling, and how to be better as FIFA to ultimately provide them the things that fans want inside stadiums, so that ultimately they'll improve revenue and access to those fans to be able to engage them smarter and hopefully yield more revenue out of their experiences every time they join the stadium. So this is a significant effort inside of all the tournament stadiums to engage with FIFA's fans and be more present to know their customer better. Next, so this goes to security, and this is probably the major technology advancement from a security standpoint. So I'll start by saying that at the Copa America 2 years ago here in the United States, we had quite a bit of security issues specifically outside of Miami Stadium, and so that was 2 years out from the World Cup, and I think FIFA was certainly watching as CONMEBOL competed here in the United States in their major tournament, and so from a stadium security standpoint, much of the infrastructure in terms of mags and taking metal detection of fans entering the stadium and the real nuts and bolts of having fans ingress and egress in and out of a stadium, all of those factors have really been buttoned up and are well prepared going into the tournament. But there's one major component that is expanding widely that is becoming an issue across all major sporting events, and that is drones entering stadium airspace undetected and potentially being not only a danger to fans, providing potential security risks in terms of pipe bombs or things of that nature, but lastly also to film content that is outside the rights holders' purview. So drones are major concerns for FIFA. FIFA's broadcasting rights across the world is the largest revenue stream that FIFA has in terms of their tournaments. And so I think most importantly, controlling access to who has the ability to film inside a FIFA stadium to get content that they could potentially stream on the internet or sell is something that they hold very, very dear, as well as the safety of their patrons and all the players and people involved in the tournament. So advanced drone detection that was a very long way of saying is an area that has been invested in significantly in partnership with local police and federal police within the U.S. and Canada. I would say most countries that have major sports occurring in their country, especially stadium-based sports, are focused on drone detection programs, and many countries throughout the world have departments inside their national security footprints that focus now on drone detection, and the U.S. is no different. And so partnering with the FBI and other major security, also the major local branches of police in our country, to both interject and operate the advanced drone detection system is critical for this tournament. Again, not only to have safety, but also to be able to identify these drones in the air and with the ability to take them down safely. So multi-million dollars has been invested in this area to ensure that drone detection will not be a problem throughout FIFA's tournament. Additionally, FIFA training centers are seen as a major area of vulnerability, but more so from a competition standpoint in terms of one country filming training sessions of another. And so integrating drone detection at those sites as well is going to be important to protect the ability of privacy for each team as they prepare for the tournament. Next, we're going to move to broadcast technology enhancements. So first and foremost, I want to get into virtual reality and augmented reality. So for those who aren't as familiar with what these are, so this is, if you've seen a virtual reality headset that goes over your head, the ability to be, even if you're not present in a stadium, to feel like you are by putting on a headset and being able to look around and observe as if you were a fan inside the stadium from anywhere in the world, is a technology that has been advancing quite significantly, and FIFA and the World Cup are aggressively trying to integrate that into the games. Moving back to a statement I said earlier today, in which this is going to be a tournament for the wealthy and the rich, meaning many people will not have access to engaging this tournament in ways that they would have had access to even in the past, and that includes people who live in our country. Between U.S., Canada, and Mexico, there will be many fans that will be priced out of this event. VR, virtual reality, and augmented reality give the ability for fans to feel more engaged and be present in an environment in which they're unable to attend. And I think that's the main reason why FIFA hopes to incorporate this technology as significantly as possible. So I mentioned a little bit about virtual reality, but I wanted to get into augmented reality as well. And so for fans who are actually in the stadium, if you'll see my image on the left, being able to augment your reality while being in the match, having the ability to touch point through FIFA's app, engage real-time stats, engage things that are available through the data collection that I'll talk about in just a minute. Being able to engage those stats real-time while watching a match and overlaying that into your experience, I think is a really key part for folks who have tremendous interest in the game and how the game is, how decisions are made on the field through tracking speed of play, players' individual movements, as well as how the ball moves and other key attributes to the game. So my next slide really dives a little bit more deeper into that. So FIFA and through FIFA's app, FIFA Plus, have really been collecting quite a bit of data for many years. And now it's how do we integrate that data not only from inside the game from coaching and analysts and how they work through this data in real time to make better decisions on the field to hopefully impact results and winning. But how can fans do the same and engage that information that is available? FIFA has made dramatic efforts through their app to really expand access for fans to do such things. So what does that mean? What type of data will be available to fans as they watch games moving forward? So live scores and match events is the obvious. How are goals occurring? What are stat leaders as they achieve success in matches and players individually are achieving stats? What are the goal standings? Live VAR decisions, being able to access more video and more camera angles so that you can be understanding why decisions were made better, not only from maybe a referee's decision or hand gesturings on the field, but also being able to make your own decisions through tighter access to video and offsides decisions through avatars and things of that nature. So substitution information, red and yellow card updates, minute by minute commentary, things of that nature. Advanced team statistics. So expected goals is a very popular one across the game, and understanding not only from a team perspective what the expected goal outlay is, but also for individual players what their expected goals can be based off of how they're playing in the game. There's just a lot of access to different data across the game, and through FIFA's app, they make an effort to try to enhance that information and gain access for all fans to engage it. Moving forward. Lastly, this is a great example of FIFA, through all of FIFA's efforts in the game and the different tournaments that they operate throughout the world, whether that be the major tournaments, both men and women's FIFA World Cups, the Club World Cup that they've reinstituted and really expanded last year here in the United States as a precursor to this summer's tournament. All of the youth national team tournaments that happen throughout the world. FIFA often tests a lot of different new technologies in an effort to see which ones make sense to integrate into the major tournaments versus which ones maybe aren't quite incubated enough or developed enough to be successful. So FIFA tried out a few different efforts last summer during the Club World Cup. And the one that really stood out and is being integrated into the tournament this year is called the referee's view camera. And so you can see a couple of different images here, both from a far view but also close up, is through the center referee's headset. They've attached a small camera to his setup there, and now the ability to come to this camera as a part of the broadcast and see what a referee saw as they're making a critical decision on the field was probably the most widely supported effort in last year's tournament as a trial effort that is being integrated into this summer's tournament. So definitely look forward to this, as I think this just provides a tremendously more up close effort into the game than ever before, even than cameras that hover over the field. I think this takes it even one step closer. So be on the lookout for that one specific technology enhancement from a broadcast perspective. Lastly, we move to on-field technology integration. So from an on-field perspective, this is obviously the area that I think most fans are most critically focused on. This is an area that I think expands. This is an area that I think touches on everybody to be, most interested in. And so I think we'll start first with the smart ball. So the ball is obviously the center of the game, and there's been significant advancements from a soccer ball perspective over the years as every tournament expands. So 2022 in Qatar was the first tournament ball that actually included a sensor, but the sensor was very primitive in terms of what it could accomplish, what it was capable of doing. Really, the first efforts from a sensor perspective in the game was on goal line technology, end line technology. Had the ball gone out of bounds or over the goal line to be credited as a goal, that was really the first efforts in terms of utilizing sensors inside the ball to help referees and help make better decisions for the game. As we've moved forward 4 years, that technology has advanced significantly. And really where you're going to see the sensor in the ball be more successful and help better is in offsides, offsides decisions, real-time movement of the ball in relation to players, and in terms of the video cameras making split-second decisions about body angles and body positioning of players in making those split-second decisions to make sure that the critical decisions on goal on goal movements, goal scoring opportunities and whatnot are measured appropriately. And so the efforts of the Trianda ball by Adidas to integrate this technology, I think, is going to be really take us further and really make sure that the tournament is measured appropriately. So I have a first question. And I'm going to stop just for a moment from my presentation and address it. Is AI used to analyze players' performance or pretty much anything, and how accurate is it? Okay, so we can certainly talk about that. Let me just finish my statement on the ball, and then we'll move to how AI analyzes players. So again, the ball, I think, is going to be incredibly important this year for decision making. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how the technology inside the ball will advance things. I think from an AI perspective and analyzing players, so while we're on the topic of sensors, for years players have carried sensors on their bodies during match play, and so the idea of having a sensor on moving targets on the field has been something that we've been utilizing for many years. Integrating into the ball and trying to integrate that has been a process that's taken a little bit longer. But every player on the field carries a similar sensor that measures not only their biometrics but also their GPS and movement on the field. And so utilizing AI to support those to support sensor the data collected by the sensors on their bodies is certainly improving year over year, and really it's come a lot further from a club perspective. So many of the best professional clubs throughout the world, your your Barcelonas, your Real Madrids, your Manchester Uniteds, those clubs have been utilizing that sort of technology for quite a long time, and integrating camera packages and the ability to track movement through video to overlay on top of what the sensors are collecting allow AI to really enhance the ability to analyze the data that's collected across those different mediums. And so you're seeing a lot of advancements in those efforts. From a national team perspective in a competition like the World Cup, I think that data is a little bit more I would say only the elite teams have the ability to finance measurement and growth and investment in those areas. So from a UEFA tournament bracket, I think you're going to see a lot more growth in those space. But countries such as Haiti and Curacao just don't really have the money to invest in AI analysis in ways that other larger countries like the United States or England would have. And so you're going to have a lot less even playing field in that space. But many of the best teams certainly are utilizing that and piggybacking off of what the top clubs in the world are doing. So you'll see a lot more of that, but I think much of that data will still be kept under wraps because there is a competitive advantage to keeping that information quiet. And so public access to more expanded data through AI, I think will still not be at your fingertips as a fan. So I hope that answered that question. Next, we're going to move to VAR enhancements. And so VAR technology continues to grow. There's a lot of discussion, arguments, back and forth about how to integrate VAR, how much access to give both referees to have the ability to measure, to take a second look, but also to have coaching staffs have a voice in terms of forcing a VAR review. And so much of that the rules surrounding it and the ability to integrate it into the game, but also not let it take away from the game, I think is critical. And so specifically VAR enhancements, I think primarily are focused around making decisions quickly so that the game can continue without long breaks and long delays while the referees analyze those decisions. So giving access to the VAR officials off the field, inside the booth, reviewing different camera angles, and allowing them to do their jobs on the front end so that a field referee can step into a decision, look quickly at the best angles that those video referees have been able to parse, and so that a field referee can make a quick decision based off of the information that they're given. And so from a technology standpoint, and where Lenovo has really stepped into on-field decisions as a technical partner, is that this effort to create 3D player avatars to take the video, the live video, and integrate it into this avatar system, which allows for semi-automated offside technology to be integrated to see where the body parts of different players as they're on the line of offside or not offside, to determine, even by the most small microfractions of a centimeter or whatnot, to determine whether they are offside or not offside. And so utilizing this avatar system is going not only to allow referees to make quicker decisions, but also for fans to see what is happening in real time with these players as the ball is moving, as the technology inside the ball is telling you that the ball has been struck, and you have a snapshot of where players were in that moment to determine if they are offsides or not, onside or offside. A great example of this avatar system is the tennis ball. In now all major tennis tournaments, they have the ability to measure whether a tennis ball is in or out of the box, and making the ball an avatar in terms of where it hits. I would say that, because this is moving people and body parts, arms, legs, things of that nature, it is far more advanced than the simplistic tennis ball inside a box, but it's a similar type process as that, is taking real video and turning it into something in which they can make a very distinct decision. Next, AI-powered stabilization software for the referee camera. The ability to have a referee running on the field, bouncing up and down as that camera moves, and being able to stabilize that image through AI power, knowing what capturing all these brief images and then being able to merge them all together into a stable video platform is an area of great, where I think you'll see that camera have, again, tremendous success in terms of the video that it's able to capture. But the AI-powered stabilization is going to be critical to bringing that shaky camera view into something that can be viewed by everyone for an excellent view of the field. Again, the overall goal here is to reduce errors and improve decision-making in those critical moments, but most importantly, to do it quickly. I think early stages of VAR have slowed the game to a level that is concerning. As you think about the health and safety of players and hydration breaks, you're already going to have major stoppages inside the game. And so eliminating long VAR stoppages is critical to making sure that the games progress on time, so that TV broadcasters can have clear windows of how much time it's going to take to produce and deliver a game to fans, as there'll be, especially in the early rounds, many matches happening each day, so not having overlap between each game due to long breaks. Next. So ultimately connecting all of these technologies, I thought this image here was a great visual of what we're trying to accomplish on the field. The Trianda ball being the centerpiece of all of it. You see not only some of the augmented reality happening here on the sides of player avatars and player pages in terms of real-time stats being collected, but also what's happening on the field with VAR and all the different camera angles moving forward. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation, but that's ultimately, I think, the key areas of technology happening. And I'm now happy to take questions from the audience on different topics that we've discussed today. And I have one here. Question: you talked about using smaller tournaments as trial runs. Was there anything tested at the Club World Cup that was decided not to roll out for 2026? There certainly were efforts. What those specific ones were, I'm I wasn't as dialed into all of the tournament efforts that were unsuccessful. I know that one area specifically is camera angles. So we talked earlier about the Qatar World Cup in 2022, how all 11 stadiums in that country were built from scratch for the tournament. And so FIFA had the ability to go in and build out specific camera angles specific to soccer. That as we integrate new camera systems, new technology, not only for in-match recording, but also tactical cameras that teams use to see movement. Having the positions inside the stadium to set those cameras for filming. Coming to the United States, one major challenge has been integrating those camera angles in stadiums in which they weren't built specifically for soccer. They were built for other American sports, specifically American football. And so trying to create new ways in which you could integrate these camera angles, what that meant, taking out specific seating sections or seats to allow for different camera angles to be integrated into the stadium. A lot of different things were trialed in that area regarding broadcast. And so trying to see which camera angles worked and made sense and how to specifically field level viewpoints, as many of those stadiums are quite tight down on the field. How do you integrate close camera angles from sideline views where there are football suites that are field level that obstruct views of high expensive tickets and some of your VIP fans were things that were challenging in navigating. So that's one example of some different things, trial and error, what worked, what didn't. Other stuff I think was more pie in the sky, where maybe the technology wasn't quite ready to match what the hope was that it could accomplish. And so saying these are good ideas, but they're not quite incubated enough to integrate into the game just yet. And so we'll hold those off for later tournaments until we feel more comfortable about their value add. Okay, another question. From everything you saw at the 2025 Club World Cup, what was the one piece of new technology that actually surprised you the most? Oh, it's a good question. I think for me, from what I saw, the 2024 Copa America tournament in our country and some of the security issues in terms of ingress and egress of fans in and out of the stadium, I think there was a lot of concerns about being able to control access points of stadiums. And so, and also some of what was able to enter because of those access points and fans being able to breach gates, being comfortable about what potential dangers entered the stadium in terms of weapons, bombs, and things of that nature. I think there was a really large focus in terms of entering stadiums and what metal detectors and different systems could detect from fans coming in. We had some issues with smoke bombs as well in some of the early games from the Moroccan fans in Philadelphia. And so being able to really understand what was coming into the stadium was a critical point, and integrating much more technology at the point of entrance in terms of mags and things of that nature. The level of effort put into that, but also trying to, again, making sure that fans could enter stadiums quickly but safely, and making sure you had a great understanding of what they were walking into. Some of the technology at that level for me was things I had never seen before in entering the stadium. And so that was, I think, what I was able to witness as being a part of that tournament. And you'll certainly see in more scale this year as the stadiums and the fan bases expected for those games will triple and quadruple in terms of size. Okay, next question. AI stabilized referee camera footage sounds very high tech. Do you worry that this level of polish might still hide how chaotic and difficult the referee's job really is. Listen, I think most people understand that refereeing the game at this high level is an incredibly challenging job. Referees take some of the biggest flack across the game in terms of just how critical their decisions are and how difficult a job it really is. VAR has been a tremendous supporting role player in terms of helping to make sure that those large decisions are made correctly. And so the camera on a referee, I believe, isn't so much meant to make sure that they're making correct decisions. It's about giving access to fans to see what referees see on the field. And so I'm not sure that camera angle is meant to help make better decisions inside the game. I think it's meant to humanize a referee and show that just how difficult their job is, and just how quick the game moves around them, how quickly the ball can move away from them as they chase the game on the field. I think those are the images meant to be captured from game film. There are certainly many more camera angles that will help determine why a decision is made on the field in those critical moments, and through AI-powered stabilized cameras. So I hope that answered that question for you. Next question. Looking a few years ahead, could you imagine VAR being used in lower-tier leagues in a lighter, cheaper version, or is this level of technology only realistic for tournaments like the World Cup? Well, that's great. That's a great question. I can't speak to other leagues throughout the world, as I'm not incredibly plugged in at that level, but I can say here domestically, at Major League Soccer, our first division league in the United States, is currently the only league in our country that utilizes VAR during match play. VAR has not been integrated in lower level leagues. I think as the technology gets better, it's certainly possible that it will be integrated into smaller leagues throughout the world. First and foremost, you have a hardware challenge. The hardware for VAR is incredibly expensive and is constantly being updated in terms of being improved and being made better. So the expense related to purchasing hardware that would support this technology is one, expensive and cost prohibitive, but also changes and is upgraded significantly year after year. So I think finding some stability in terms of what that hardware package would look like for teams. But then once you purchase the hardware, then you need to staff it appropriately so that it can be utilized throughout the game. Not only so it would incur an additional referee member of the staff to come to every match. So that's another additional cost. Integrating that investment on VAR into the stadium setup from camera angles, making sure that your stadium camera angles at a lower division level support that engagement. But most importantly, I think I think all of the expense surrounding that and ensuring that there's success in the integration. I think we're a ways off. I can say from a domestic standpoint, professional clubs in this country are operating pretty close to the margins as is, and the investment at that level, I think, is still quite a few years away from really making sense. I could see a world in which we are a country that utilizes playoffs, and we don't rely on just a single table and a cup winner for the entire season. So maybe in a playoff scenario, it could be integrated as a test run sooner than later. But I think from a 30-plus game season, I think we're still quite a few years off from that being a realistic option. Next question. Do you think all these new tools make hosting a World Cup more accessible for future countries, or does the tech requirement actually raise the barrier? That's a great question. So I think what I would say is that it's probably a double-edged sword. taking Qatar and taking the United States as our last two World Cup hosts, again, bring very different skill sets to the table. Qatar more or less building all of the infrastructure for the tournament from scratch prior to the tournament. The United States having all the infrastructure needed with regards to stadiums in place. Qatar is an incredibly wealthy stadium, so the wealth is, I think, an important factor to integrating these components. If you are being considered to host a tournament of this scale, if you don't have the wealth to invest on the front end to ensure that the tournament will go off well, the reality is that you're probably not going to be considered seriously to host a World Cup, because the scale of this tournament, especially now that we've gone from 36 teams to 48 teams, it is a significant endeavor. And really, in many cases, you're going to see multi-country bids, similar to the United States with Canada and Mexico. It's going to take more than one country to operate a tournament of this scale in most cases moving forward. And so as a result, splitting the costs surrounding the tournament amongst multiple countries, splitting the amount of stadiums necessary to operate the tournament will be important. I don't want to say it's impossible, but it is certainly a barrier of entry for a bidding process in which FIFA will consider very heavily whether or not a country thinking about hosting can pull off this level of scale with regards to technology and what it's going to take. I want to believe that it won't be just the really wealthy countries that will have the opportunity to host in the future, but turning revenue for FIFA through these major competitions is important. And so I think the ability for smaller countries throughout the world to really realistically enter the game to host these tournaments in the future, I think is somewhat compromised as we move forward. And that was the last question I have. So, listen, guys, I really appreciate the opportunity to speak today and present on this topic. I hope this talk was helpful and opened your eyes in terms of what's coming. We're really excited to have the tournament here and have been preparing for a long time to host a tournament of this scale. And so we're excited to show you what the United States has how much we've grown in the game of soccer, both domestically and in terms of our footprint throughout the world. And we're excited to be the host this year and present what we think will be one of the most dynamic World Cups with regards to technology and access for fans throughout the world to engage with the games. So again, thank you so much today for the opportunity to speak. Happy to. I thought the questions were amazing. So thank you for the time.